What if the warnings written thousands of years ago weren't meant for a distant generation, but for us, right now? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the signs you've read about in the Bible, the ones so often dismissed as myths or metaphors, are suddenly staring you in the face. It's unsettling, isn't it? Yet that's exactly what many are saying. And at the center of this storm of speculation stands a name you probably never expected: Jared Kushner. The question isn't just whether these theories hold weight, it's whether we're ready to confront the possibility. Kushner's influence stretches far beyond what meets the eye. From brokering unprecedented peace agreements in the Middle East to his association with the ominous number 666, and even his deep ties to groundbreaking technologies, the parallels with Scripture are too striking to ignore. Could it really be coincidence? Or are we witnessing the rise of a figure destined to shape the fate of the world as we know it? This video isn't just about theories, it's about uncovering truths hidden in plain sight. Are we standing on the edge of prophetic fulfillment? Or is this just another conspiracy? By the end, you might find yourself questioning not only the world around you, but also the very foundation of your beliefs. But before we dive into this extraordinary revelation, let's take a closer look at the connections that have many convinced we've just met the Antichrist. There's a peculiar theory swirling around the world today, one that ties Jared Kushner, a figure known for his strategic influence during Donald Trump's presidency, to the identity of the Antichrist. It's not every day you hear such bold speculation, but when you look closer, the connections seem uncanny. From his unprecedented involvement in international politics to his deep ties with Israel, some say the puzzle pieces align eerily with biblical prophecies. Could it really be possible? This isn't about conspiracy. It's about examining the facts and drawing parallels that might seem too significant to ignore. Take Tai, for instance, his role in Middle Eastern diplomacy. Kushner didn't just support Trump's policies, he became a key architect of agreements that were supposed to unite nations. However, to those familiar with Scripture, these deals sound strikingly like the Antichrist's promise of peace before chaos. It's not about judgment here, it's about opening your eyes to patterns that might be unfolding before us. After all, wouldn't it make sense for such a figure to appear polished, powerful, and perfectly poised to influence the world? And then there's the symbolism surrounding his life. Some have pointed to his ownership of a property with the number 666, a direct callback to Revelation's warning of the Antichrist's mark. It's one of those details you'd think only appears in movies, but it's real, documented, and has left people raising their eyebrows. Could this be mere coincidence, or does it point to something greater? As you begin to connect the dots, it becomes clear that this theory isn't just about Jared Kushner. It's about understanding what these signs mean for believers in a time when clarity is more important than ever. The presidency of Donald Trump wasn't just another political era. It became a phenomenon that sparked global conversations, debates, and even biblical speculation. Many believe that his leadership, combined with the influence of those closest to him, like his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, opened doors for events that could align with end-time prophecies. Trump's unprecedented support for Israel and his central role in the Abraham Accords added fuel to the fire, making people wonder if these weren't just political moves, but prophetic steps. Could the world be watching history and Scripture unfold in real time? Kushner's involvement wasn't limited to backroom strategies. He was on the front lines of global diplomacy. His ability to broker peace agreements in the Middle East was celebrated by many, but for some, it raised alarm bells. To those attuned to biblical texts, these accords bear a striking resemblance to the peace promised by the Antichrist, a peace that is later shattered. It's not about fear-mongering, but about looking at the possibilities through a spiritual lens. What if these moments are clues that believers have been waiting for, but only a few are recognizing? From a religious perspective, Trump's presidency marked a period where faith became interwoven with politics in ways rarely seen before. Evangelical support surged, with many calling Trump a chosen figure. But what if the focus should have been on those operating behind the scenes? Kushner's deep connections to technology, Israel, and global leaders make him a figure worth analyzing. This isn't about politics, it's about understanding the spiritual implications of modern leadership and what it could mean for the unfolding of prophetic events. Biblical prophecies often feel like distant, cryptic passages until they seem to align with real-world events, leaving believers in awe. Jared Kushner's role in the Abraham Accords is one such event that has many drawing connections to Scripture, particularly the Book of Revelation. These agreements, aimed at establishing peace in the Middle East, resonate with prophecies about a leader who promises unity and harmony before revealing darker intentions. It's not just theory. These accords represent a monumental shift in history, and for those watching closely, they could be more than political milestones. Consider the timing and the players involved. Kushner, with his unique position of power and influence, played a pivotal role in brokering peace between nations. For many, this aligns too closely with the Antichrist's prophesied rise, a figure who gains trust and admiration through diplomacy. The question isn't just whether these events fulfill Scripture, but whether they signal a turning point in humanity's timeline. If these aren't mere coincidences, what might this mean for the world? And how can believers prepare for what's ahead? For those studying Revelation, the signs are striking. The prophecy describes a leader who will captivate the masses, forge agreements, and seemingly bring solutions to long-standing conflicts. Yet beneath the surface lies deception, one that blinds many until it's too late. Could Kushner's diplomatic achievements be part of this narrative? And if so, what responsibility do Christians have to discern the truth? These questions aren't just hypothetical, they're calls to action for anyone paying attention to the extraordinary events unfolding today. The symbolism of numbers has always been deeply intertwined with biblical prophecy, and few numbers carry as much weight as 666. For many, it's the most direct identifier of the Antichrist, mentioned explicitly in the Book of Revelation. Jared Kushner's association with this number, through his connection to a building bearing this ominous figure, has stirred significant speculation. Imagine this: a man so deeply involved in global diplomacy, tied to Israel, and now linked to the very number that Scripture warns believers to watch for. Could this really just be a coincidence, or is there something more at play? To understand the significance, let's unpack the story. The building in question, 66666 Fifth Avenue, was once owned by Kushner's company, a detail that caught the attention of those with an eye for prophecy. While it might seem trivial to some, for believers, it's a potential marker of deeper meaning. After all, numbers in Scripture often symbolize far more than their numerical value. They reveal hidden truths. Could it be that this association is a subtle clue, a nudge for those paying attention to dig deeper into the patterns of prophecy? But this isn't about paranoia. It's about awareness. The connection to 66666 might be dismissed by skeptics as a random detail, but to those who study Scripture, it's an invitation to reflect. Prophecy often works in layers, with signs that can seem ordinary until viewed through the lens of faith. As believers consider this detail, the question arises: what other seemingly minor elements in Kushner's life might point to a larger narrative? Perhaps the answers lie not just in the numbers, but in the paths they illuminate, leading us into the next mystery. Technology has always been a double-edged sword, offering incredible advancements while raising questions about control and surveillance. Jared Kushner's connections to Silicon Valley and his interest in cutting-edge innovations add another layer of intrigue to the Antichrist theory. The Book of Revelation speaks of a mark of the beast, something that could govern buying, selling, and daily life. Now think about it. What better tool than artificial intelligence and surveillance systems to fulfill such a prophecy? It's not about labeling technology as evil, but about understanding how it could be used to shape a world increasingly driven by control. Kushner's ties to tech aren't just casual, they're strategic. His proximity to leaders in AI development and data analytics could position him, or those like him, to wield power in ways the Bible warned about. For example, AI algorithms are already used for predictive policing, financial tracking, and even facial recognition. Imagine a future where these tools aren't just conveniences, but requirements to participate in society. It's not hard to see how such systems could evolve into what Scripture describes as the mark. This is where prophecy starts to feel less abstract and more like a warning about the misuse of power. But this isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a wake-up call. Believers must ask themselves how they're preparing for a world that might become more dependent on technology to regulate life. Are they learning to discern the difference between progress and control? For instance, being aware of how your data is used or questioning advancements like microchip implants isn't just smart, it's essential. As the pieces of prophecy and modern tech seem to align, one can't help but wonder, are we closer to seeing these events unfold than we realize? Perhaps the answers lie in watching, questioning, and preparing for what's ahead. As we wrap up this journey into one of the most debated topics in prophecy, let me ask you, what if the signs we've discussed are real, and we're living in the very moments foretold in Scripture? Are you prepared to confront these truths, or will you let them slip by as mere speculation? The world is changing rapidly, and the connections we've explored between Jared Kushner, prophecy, and current events might just be the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. So, what's next for you? Will you dig deeper into Scripture, pray for discernment, or perhaps even start discussions with others about what these events mean? Remember, awareness isn't just about knowing, it's about acting. How will you prepare yourself and your loved ones if these theories hold even a shred of truth? This isn't about fear, it's about clarity, faith, and readiness. Ask yourself, am I truly watching the signs, or am I overlooking what's right in front of me? If this video has opened your eyes, don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications to stay informed as we uncover more insights about biblical prophecy and current events. And share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe these signs align with Scripture? Let's keep the conversation alive as we seek understanding together. The journey doesn't end here, it's just beginning.